Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Anastasia podcast. I have some special stuff planned for today. We're going to dive right into some heavy stuff. Today is Wednesday, and Nola's actually napping, so I'm rolling my hand again at trying to get a podcast done while she's napping. On Monday, I had the whole podcast room set up. I had an outfit on, hair and makeup done, microphone, everything set up. And then I was like, you know what? If I sit and record, I'm going to end up being late for picking up Noli. So I just was like, I'll do it tonight. It never ends up happening tonight because you're so tired. Anyways, I'm glad I didn't do it because I was not in the right headspace. Because Monday night, after I put Noli down, I didn't even know, like, tears just came. And like Matt was finally home after working like a crazy schedule again. And I was coming off of like solo parenting, hormones. You guys know the drill. And I just started like crying out of nowhere. And I was like, I am like so tired of being a mom because like Matt had said something really sweet. He's like, I love seeing you as a mom. You're such a good mom. And then that just made me cry even harder because I felt like such a fraud. And I've had like a couple days to talk with some close friends, moms in similar seasons, moms who are like a few steps ahead of me. And I really got to unpack like what is going on here. And even down to the devotional that I was reading this morning. Guys, God is always there with you. Like through the hard, He's always there. So I want to unpack it with you guys. So before I get into all of that, I also want to talk about my social media hiatus. We right now are in middle of October, like beginning to mid of October. We just had an entire heat wave. It was in the 80s for so many days. It is downpouring today. It's extremely muggy. So that's why I'm utilizing nap time to do a podcast because after this, I'm going to be hiking the dog and the baby. Matt worked overnight last night. He's sleeping. My makeup's going to get ruined. My hair's going to get ruined. I better like seize this opportunity while I have it. I'm very excited though. The forecast for the whole upcoming week is going to be in the 60s. We are going to be back down to like low 50s, high 40s at night, which is going to be a dream. We have been in this muggy, humid purgatory. And it's nice because like this weekend, we just got kind of like our last beach days in Rhode Island. And I know like that is such a full circle moment for so many like East Coasters, like people who just get it. Like there's just something about the beach and it's just like a nice way to kind of wrap up the season and send it on its way and welcome fall. So I'm so excited for that because I'm so excited to get to like bundle up when I go on hikes with Noli. I'm so excited to not come home from hikes soaking wet with sweat. Like hiking in 90 degrees, 80, like mid 80s all summer while hiking with a baby in a backpack. It was not for the weak. It was like you immediately have to shower after you're changing all your clothes. Like I was so sick of outfit changes this summer. So I'm better for it. Made me stronger in a lot of ways. I am very excited to kiss it goodbye. Okay, so something that happened basically Sunday night is I think like I just reached this point where I am realizing when I am feeling like motherhood is such a heavy toll on me. There's like a few things going on. I was saying to Matt, I'm like, I just feel personally like who I am as a person. It is harder for me because of certain variables. So, one, the nature of my husband's job, kind of ending up solo parenting for 2, 3 days at a time. And it's almost like every single time he gets ordered for these crazy shifts, it's like new news to me. Like, I'll be like, all of a sudden, like, oh no, I'm about to be alone for 3.5 days. And it kind of comes out of nowhere. And this time specifically on like last week on Friday, we kind of had a crazy like middle of week to end of the week. And then I was like cooking all this food, making sure he had food kind of prepped and ready for like his back to back to backs. And then like the house gets quiet and he's not there. And I'm all of a sudden thinking like, oh, this is what it's going to be like for 3 days without him. And then I get in my feels and then I get sad because he's also my best friend and life is just easier when you share the load. And when Matt goes to work, it's also like I don't get to really talk to him. He's really busy. The nature of his job, they're just not available for conversating and I'm a conversating kind of girl. So like I started to have like the blues really like heavily hit me. And I was like, all right, we're going to do this a little different this time, Anastasia. You're going to really lean on God and God is going to carry you through because it's not the end of the world. This is the season of your life and it just looks like this. And I'm constantly torn, like I'm ebbing and flowing in this world where I know the future of our life is not going to look like this. I know the promise of having more children it's gonna look different with daddy being able to be home more, and I have to, like, actively know that truth and replace it with the lie that I feel when I'm overwhelmed of like, well, if this is what it's gonna be like with 2 kids, I'm not having 2 kids because then I start to try to control, like, or I try to, like, give myself the illusion that I can control things that haven't happened yet. So I just have to, like, literally pause and give it all to God. I was saying to Matt that one, like, just so that the nature of who I am, just, like, feeling, like, super sad and lonely and growing weary and tired, like, I know you're supposed to pull into your community and, like, plug in with other moms. Like, I have so many friends who are moms. It's just different when you're revolving in this, like, place of solitude almost. You're just alone. You're solo. So, I also said to Matt, like, I don't think it's like this for everyone because there are women out there that they are the as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always wanted to be a mom. I was never that girl. I never thought about being a mom, truly. When Matt and I would toy with the decision, like, are we going to become parents? Are we not going to become parents? Because we kept pushing it off. Our deciding factor for us was when we look 10 years ahead, we do see children. And that's how we made peace with the decision that, yes, we are going to have to walk through that chapter of growing our family. We just didn't know when and exactly how it would look like. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday, and she was like, she has not felt any resistance in this new transition of motherhood or into motherhood and like transition into her new identity. And she's like, she literally said the words to me, ever since I gained consciousness, I've always known I wanted to be a mom. That is amazing to me because that was not me. And it's not like I watched my mom be a mom and I was like, "Ugh, I don't want that." It just is something I never really thought about. I love caring for other people. I love taking care of Matt. I love taking care of Magnolia. I love taking care of my friends and family. Like, I have such a heart for caring and, like, hospitality. And somehow in that, I never really, as a kid or as a younger pre-mom version of myself, thought like, "Well, I can't wait till I get to do this for my kids." I just didn't think of it like that. It didn't end there. I was too wrapped up in like taking care of what my immediate family looked like and entrepreneurial ventures. So I think that right there sets the stage of me just understanding myself a little bit more and unpacking why I feel the way that I do. When I'm, like, talking about this background stuff, the goal for it is, like, I'm an external processor. I have to talk about things to understand them, and maybe in doing so, it can help somebody else out there because I do not talk about these things with the heart of like, "Well, I just wanna talk about how hard it is and let it live there." No, it's about, like, you need to get to the root of things sometimes, so you're unpacking, 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 and even talking with my friend Lily yesterday, like, having women of faith in your corner is so important because she just, like, very humbly and very simply reminded me yesterday, like, "Anastasia, you can surrender this in prayer. You can surrender that motherhood is hard for you, and, like, God can lift that from you like that. Like, that can be changed that fast." And that was, like, freaky to me because I'm like, "No, you forget that it can be that fast. We think it has to be this cross that we bear and we have to keep on." Like, God can change my heart and ease this transition for me through motherhood because I think I get to this point where it's always when Matt's schedule is consistently crazy because the weeks that my husband is like kind of working a normal schedule and we have a balance of power in our home and like I have his help way more because he's just there and available. Those are the weeks that I'm like we should have 5 kids. Like, this is such a joy. This is like, yes, there's challenges with it, but we should have more. We should have more. Then when it's totally on my own and balancing the dog, etc., that's when I'm like, we're done. I don't even know why I'm putting this stuff in storage for a baby. We should just get rid of all of it and we should be one and done. That is the lie. Like, that is the lie. And I have to like there's something about, like, when I feel like that, I feel like I just need to get it out, and it feels like a sense of, like, power of ownership over my life when I feel like so much is not within my control, but that is, like, totally from the enemy because that is, like, a place of surrender. It's, like, false control. It's thinking, like, "Well, I have the authority over my own life," and you do, but that's also speaking from a complete place of pain, and God never wants you to operate like that. So I think really sitting there and unpacking that and realizing that's not how you permanently feel, Anastasia. These are just feelings you're experiencing right now. Like, seriously, God bless husbands because, like, Matt, like, sees me on this loop. That is the loop that I'm in. And I think something else that had happened is like getting to do that little renovation project for the salon. I felt so in alignment with a part of myself that I haven't felt in so long. Like Anastasia, Costa Cabin, useful employee, when I've just been so like pigeonholed into mom, and like mom is so new for me. Yes, there's a natural aspect about it, right? As women, we're caretakers, we're nurturers, but there's still so much newness and navigating that it felt so good to slip into something that was familiar, that I was very good at. And it like reignited something in me. And I think coming from that high to then, like, Noli is 10 months. We're in a beautiful spot. Like, it really does get easier and easier. Like, it gets really hard, but then it's what do they say about hard things? They say, like, hard times don't last because one of two things happen. Either the circumstances change or you get tougher. So that level of hard starts to become easier. Both of those things are happening at the same time. My mom confidence is building. This is not like this is not my first rodeo, essentially, even though it totally is. Like, I am so much more well equipped to identify what could potentially be going on that, like, we're in a different groove. But with that, there's this level of, like I said to Matt, I feel like a fraud. Like, I feel like a fraud. Like, I've been trying to maintain this appearance of being a mom for 10 months, and I'm just growing so tired because I miss my old identity. And I think it's important to allow yourself to express those things and kind of get it out. But it's so important to not stay there because last night when I was putting Noli down, like, you just get these moments of humility, and I think the dust settles, and, like, the peace is like, the dust is, like, settling in your heart, and I'm, like, kinda, like, just looking around. There's so much to be grateful for. Like, despite all of the hard, there's so much to be grateful for, and I know I touch upon this in so many podcasts because this has been guys, you have seen me through the most transformative year of my life, and you see me on this hamster wheel week after week of like, "This is so hard. This is the best. I wanna do this again. Oh my gosh, I'm struggling." Like, and it's kind of this the antidote through all of this or the recipe, like, through it is always the same. It's the Bible verse is like, "Pray about everything, worry about nothing." I was listening I think when I was listening to the Bible, it was saying, like, God knew we were gonna worry. God knew as people we were gonna have these flaws and have stresses and anxieties and worries, and that's why they literally wrote in the Bible, "Do not worry about anything, pray about everything." Cast those worries to God, give them to God. He can handle them, we can't. And this morning so I bought a new devotional, and I'm like for me, it's kind of like no matter what time of the morning Magnolia wakes up, no matter what kind of a night we had, if we were up 4 times, etc., we will mosey downstairs. This girl, kids can wake up like 5 times a night and they attack the morning like they just got like 15 hours of sleep. It's wild. But we go downstairs, I set up her gates, so, we're like zoned in the living room and I get to read my devotional. She's playing with her toys, and the devotional today was talking about how easy it is to get in this loop of how hard things are and how much things suck, and then comparing it to the highs of our like other seasons of life. And I was like, wait, why is this so on point? And it was talking about how when you get in those places mentally, like, it is your duty to immediately start giving thanks. And it's like, if you can't give thanks for the big things, start to slow down and, like, give thanks for the small things. Give thanks for the shoes on your feet, the running water from your faucets. And the concept behind it is, if you are so busy filling your cup with gratitude for everything that you have, it naturally like, your cup starts to run over, and there's no more room in that cup for the overwhelm and anxiety and stress of all the other things, and that is the stuff that, like, that pours over, you give that to God. God's the one who carries it. God's the one who figures it out. I was kind of thinking about how, like, when we kinda try to be God of like, "No, I got this. I'm gonna figure this out. I have to figure this out for myself," like, that's when it's literally always the worst because you can't, because you're not intended for that. So even last night when I was praying with Noli, I was like kind of praying a prayer of sorry, of like, I'm sorry that I get in these human moments where complaining is the easiest thing for me to reach for. And for me to, be in this state of like, you know what? It just sucks. It's just so hard. XYZ. And then I don't wanna stay there. I don't wanna stay there because I don't wanna be bitter, because I have so much to be grateful for, and I'm just always reminded, like, in the devotional it even said, like, "If you're stressed about work, give thanks that you have a job," and it's so true, and I know it's easier said than done, but Noli and I pray all the time, like, "Thank you for daddy's job," like, "Thank you for this house that we have. Thank you that we're able to, like, have a home that we return to as a family. Thank you for the safety," like, there is so much to be grateful for, and it's probably the perfect storm of being overtired and not remembering to reset. It's gonna be a muscle. It's gonna have to be a muscle that I consistently reach for and exercise, and I want that to be more of my second nature than immediately regurgitating how hard it is. I'm giving myself grace because it's still my first time walking through this season, but I would like to be more well equipped for this in the future. And I want to be an example of hope for myself and then my friends when they go through similar seasons, because I've always been a person that like you can be going through hard times. You can get to the point where like you need to get it out, then take a breath, and where do we go from here? What is the next step? What are we going to do about it? How are we going to fix it? What are we going to adjust? I have never believed in just kind of sulking. That's been something that's been very hard for me in this season because I feel like there's so much surrender, like surrender to this season. It's not about me picking back up and going full steam, but that ties into like another aspect that I've been kind of working through with this season and the hard, etc. Before Matt and I had Magnolia, I don't want to say prided ourselves in like an ego kind of pride thing. We just did not rely on anyone for help. We were, I think when you rely on people for help, it leaves a lot of room for disappointment. And I think we kind of just learned that lesson on very early that like not everybody is dependable, and that's okay because people are going through their own journeys, experiences, life, etc. Like they're learning their own lessons. So Matt and I very quickly just figured out how to like if we want to do something, we're going to do it ourselves. Fast forward 13 years of kind of living that truth over and over and over, or like living that type of way over and over and over. It is very hard for us to ask for help. It is very hard for me, especially in this season, to learn how to ask for help and to accept help. So it's like a double layer thing for me, asking for help and accepting help. And I was saying to my friends, like my mom friends, when I got to work on that project for the salon and I got a piece of my old self and I felt in alignment and like there she is, that's me, that's that girl. There was this whole layer of guilt that like my parents watched the baby. Matt's mom watched the baby. Somebody else was doing my job. I'm supposed to be watching the baby. I'm supposed to be raising the baby. I'm supposed like, and that is my own thing. And I think there's this balance. And it's because I'm a first time mom. I'm learning how to figure it out because I do not ever want to be in a position where I dump my child on someone else because how hard this season has been for me. I want to be very like consciously aware of my own actions and behavior, that I'm not using it as a crutch of like, okay, well, this is really hard, but I can escape from the hard because I can just count on someone else to be there. And then I can go do things that are less hard. It is a balance. It's going to be my responsibility, like my husband, it's our family's thing to figure out what flow works for us, because I do feel the conviction of like Magnolia's first year, like your kid's first year is so formative and they so depend on the connection with mom and dad and family. That's where we're very lucky. Like having family available and not having to utilize daycare. I need to break that stuff down in my own head that like it's okay for Magnolia to be spending time with grandparents. It's enriching in a lot of different ways. And this is not to say like, what am I trying to say here? I'm just noticing that I have like a convoluted idea. Like it's not really defined for me. I'm trying to like operate in a checks and balances kind of way. And kind of moving forward, I'm going to have to find what that new normal is. So many of my working mom friends, my entrepreneurial friends, my boss, she's one of my closest friends. She opened a salon, was building her house, got married, had 2 kids, like, back to back, kind of. COVID happened, all this stuff, like, you have these other things that are very real, right? Like your passions, your dreams, your job, your business. And how do you move forward with being a good mom? How do you balance all those things? So that is what I'm in the process of navigating. I'm sharing it with you guys as I'm going through it in real time because that's what it is. Like everybody's journey is a little bit different. We're all figuring it out. And for me, I think this next season is going to be like practicing a little humility, asking for help, and accepting the help that's offered because Matt's mom taking Magnolia 2 days a week is an unbelievable help. She constantly expresses the joy that it brings her and how grateful she is that she gets that time with Magnolia. I express how grateful I am for that time because, again, the way Matt's mom interacts with Magnolia, like you can't pay for childcare like this. Like you can't pray for someone to be that engaging with your child. Every play is developmental focused. It's just incredible. And it's really like it comes from a place as someone who loved being a mom so much, like they never stopped mothering. So she's so excited for this next season. When I was at my parents' this weekend, I asked my parents, I'm like, all right, like, what is your guys's kind of, because there's a lot going on at my parents'. There's still like siblings living at my parents'. Like, my little brother is 16. He just turned 17 this weekend. His friends are in and out of the house. It's like a revolving door. There's so much action going on there, which is actually so fun for Magnolia. But I asked them, I'm like, where's your threshold kind of with like how many days a week I could come over with Magnolia? Because for me, especially, even when Matt's working these crazy shifts back to back to back, sometimes it's nice to just get out of the house and go plug in at my parents' and just be around people for a couple hours. I think one day last week, I literally got to my parents' house at 8:30 at night. I brought cookie dough, I baked a batch of cookies, we hung out until like 9:30. It was like an hour. And no, we went to bed that night so late, but I was like, I don't care. We need this break. So my parents' response to me in that was like, come every day. Like, come every day. My dad was like, Anastasia, I'm done with work at 5. Come. Like, and it's a little tricky, right? Because sometimes 7 like is her hard, like she's overtired, she's ready to go. But I'm like, regardless, Anastasia, figure out your new groove. Even if you come with your laptop and you get 2 hours of work done while grandpa walks around the yard with Magnolia, plays ball with her, whatever, plays music with her. They're super into playing piano, guitar, etc. Take what is available because that helps me stay afloat and helps me be a better mom. So I'm just excited to kind of figure out what this next chapter looks like as we're coming up on Magnolia being a year old. I think we're really shelving having another kid for a little bit. I think I need that for my mental health. And I just really want to so much of the past 10 months, like the first 9 months especially, was pure survival that I just want to give myself time to enjoy my child, like to enjoy what our new family dynamic is like. And it did remind me when we got a dog, tying this back into like the girls who are like, ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to be a mom. Me not having that, that added such a level of me feeling completely blindsided once I did become a mom. And I thought about this a lot with the dog. When we first got Volky, the breed that he is, the personality that he is, etc., it was the hardest first year. I spent probably the first 6 months being like, I do not like this dog. This is not my dog. This is my husband's dog. I did not want this dog. Like, not my best shining moments, like, not my best time. And that's like something that if I like, I wish I could change about myself slash I would like to get a little bit better because yes, I do like use it as a level of humor, but words are powerful too. And I don't want to be this type of reactive person. Volky was like he was a destructive puppy in that like he never settled down. He never got tired. He rarely napped. He thankfully did not like rip up furniture or anything like that, but it is because Matt or I were always home, so we got to correct that behavior right away. He was like always drawing blood. He was just like aggressive play. It was a really challenging first year. And then it was smooth sailing because it's like this perfect recipe of like you finally just get worn down into like what your new normal looks like and everybody coexists. And that is what I'm reminding myself with Magnolia. Like we are coming up on a year. It is 1 year of doing something new and hard, but it's a year of doing it. Okay. And like, thank God for his grace through all of this, because I have had so many new experiences. Mom rage, for example, not my proudest moments. Okay. So knowing that I'm not alone in that space, but knowing that like it really does get better, I'm just so grateful for it. The next thing I want to talk about is the social media hiatus that my church is doing. So I like posted real quick on my stories one day last week that like I don't know how, I think I missed the announcement at church and I just like totally forgot that the month of October we're not doing socials. I deleted everything off my phone, and then I got, like, very excited because I was like, "Wow, I have these grand plans for the month of October." I wanna organize a lot of content that I already have, like, in my phone. I wanna figure out, like, in my calendar how I'm gonna be like plugging things out and kind of promoting it. I was like, I have a lot of house projects that I want to do. I want to be a little bit more organized when I cook. There's a lot of things that I cook that I've shared in my story so many times that people have asked for recipes for so many times. And like, even like the egg bites, if you're one of like the 15 people who asked me for the recipe and I was like, I filmed it and I'm editing it, I loaded so many videos into my editor. I think there's something like for me that's hard with editing on my phone. It's so much easier if I can load it into the cloud, pull it from the cloud, and do it on my laptop. Um, because I started editing it and then I just got like annoyed and I just never went back to it. That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, whatever. But I'm at church on Sunday and I'm talking to one of my friends and I said something about social media. I was like, "Oh yeah, the social media hiatus that we're doing." And she's like, "Oh, the church moved that to January. They didn't announce it though, but like they're doing a social media fast in January." And I'm like, "So I'm probably going to return to social media sooner, especially to like post my podcast or advertise my podcast, but I still don't have anything downloaded on my phone because I'm just really enjoying this space of like freedom to just think a little bit more clearly and really think about what I want my relationship with social media to look like when I return." Lastly, I want to get back into the habit of doing wins of the week, ending my podcast. And my win of the week this past week is Noli is very close to walking. This girl is very good now at like making her way over to something. She can like pick toys out of her toy bin and then she lets go of the ledge. She has her legs stanced out and she is just balancing and she'll look at you and you just see this level of pride come over her because she is aware that she is doing it. She still gets very excited when she moves, like, when you have your arms under her armpits and you're helping her walk, it's like the excitement oozes out of her body and she starts to wiggle, and then that's when her balance starts to get messed up, but seeing all these steps unfold, like, that is the beauty in this season. There's just so much. I actually wanna share something else. This ties into, like, motherhood and it being hard. Growing up, like, me and my mom, we had a little bit of, like, a magnetic repulsion of a relationship. We were not like my parents' culture is not your mom is your best friend, like, she's your number one confidant. Like, I honestly thought it was a little weird growing up. My friends who, like, their moms were their best friends. I was like, "Okay, okay." Now I'm seeing, like, okay, that can be possible. I wanna be Noli's best friend, but I don't wanna be her, like, only best friend. Like, because I do still think that's a little weird when, like, the mom and the daughter are, like, the same person. But when I was at my parents' this week on Sunday, also my parents found my podcast, so that's another thing for another time. So, mom, if you're watching this, sorry, sometimes you're in it. Um, my dad was playing with Magnolia on the floor, and my mom was sitting on the couch, and I was kinda, like, leaning up near her, and I was like, "Mom, like, do you miss this?" And my mom goes, like, spoken like a true stone cold Soviet, like, matter of fact woman, okay? She's, like, looking at it and she smiles, she goes, "I'm not stupid. That season was very hard. I don't miss it. She's like, it was like good work. It provided so much fruit. We got through it. She's like, your dad was an unbelievable help, but I don't miss it. I'm enjoying this season. I have never felt more in alignment with my mom than since I've become a mom because I think my mom, like motherhood was not something she always dreamed about and yearned to have 5 kids. Like having 5 kids kind of happened through the ages and stages and seasons. And my mom, her wiring is she buckled up and she got us through it. She didn't though just survive. Like she did a good job. None of us went astray. We're all good kids. Like nobody, got into like super of the wrong things, etc. Her and my dad. But for her, it was very much like a job, like, this is the job at hand. My job is to raise my kids well, and I'm gonna do that, and now that we're older, she's like, "It's your job now to, like, be an adult and go do your stuff," and she's enjoying her life now, and they're enjoying grandkids, but they're very much enjoying not being in the thick of it like how they were for so long, and I'm like, "Wow, I feel like my mom." Like, yeah, obviously the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but it's something I never really understood. And now I'm like, again, it's not like, oh, Magnolia, hurry up and grow up. This is hard. I really want to make sure that the way I'm processing all those feelings, it is never crossing the barrier into Magnolia feeling like she's my place of pain. Never. Because as a parent, your responsibility is to like provide a childhood for your children and raise them up in the way that they should go. So, anyways, it was just like really interesting for me because I think the number one thing that you hear when you become a mom is anyone you see in passing at the store, they're like, enjoy it. It goes so fast. I miss it so much. I miss it so oh, if I could give anything to go back. And then like my mom, the voice of reason being like, no, I don't want to go back. It was very challenging. She did say something so funny. She's like, I remember when you and Svetlana were little, we were on this like autopilot of like the same routine every day. And she's like, it'd be get up, get Svetlana ready, get the baby ready. And she's like, we'd go on a walk and we'd have the carriage. And I think she said the store was like Almex, I think. And she's like, back then it was if you spend $5, you get free toothpaste, toilet paper, and a paper towel. So it was like you get 3 things for free if you spend $5. She was like, so we'd go every day and get some things for the house, stop at the playground on the way back, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Was it boring?" She's like, "No," like I think she did say like it's over as fast as like you're in it. And that kind of is the same thing with Magnolia. It's like realizing that I'm 10 months in, it did feel forever, but you're like finally getting out of it. But my mom's like, I remember in those days being like, every day it's a robe and slippers and robe and slippers. And she's like, I just remember thinking like, this is the forever, the robe and slippers. And my mom's like, now I would pay $1,000,000 to be in a robe and slippers every day. So with that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed this little story. I do have some guests lined up. I'm just kind of figuring out the details of how to have guests in while Magnolia's out. And, for me, it's weekdays that normally work out to work on my podcast. And that's a little bit hard when the world is kind of in the working world space. So anyways, I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye.